stop smoking.
Oh, yeah. I saw that one.
Okay, we're live, and I'm here with Dr. Gail, and I don't see anyone viewing us yet. You guys must be terribly confused about what we're doing today.
Sorry.
And Mercury isn't even retrograde. I mean, my son came home and he goes, I saw you posted 3 times this morning. What's going on? And what's going on is wires getting crossed, but happily crossed because it gave us more time to get some things settled. And we still don't have any viewers, but that's not uncommon. It takes a little while. We'll end up with about between 35 and 50 by the end of the time. So you and I can just sit here and chit chat, and hopefully they.
Well, I do appreciate you inviting me.
Oh no, I love this. You're part of my series of different ways that we deal with the divine, and different ways that what people would call divination tools. Although,
Right.
as I told you, I tell everyone, the divination tool is the person, and
Exactly.
these others are just elements that happen. And man, we really have nobody. But we can just record this because it's going to go live.
Okay.
So, starting now, what is the Starseed Healer?
Well, that's the name my guides gave me. Because actually I started off as a medium, a psychic medium, and I've always been able to talk to the ones I have passed. I've always been able to do that. Thought it was an everyday thing. Everybody could do it until a few years ago. And
Ronnie's here. The party started. Ronnie's in. Okay. I know.
Hey, Ronnie. Anyway, I started off as a psychic medium, and because I could talk to people or see people who had passed, and I'd always been able to do that, and just thought everybody else could do it also. And then when I was realizing I had my spiritual awakening when I started meditating for the first time, I had an angel show up in my face trying to give me a bracelet, and that bracelet was my gifts. And so my gifts have developed from there to being able to work with the aliens. I help save the aliens from the areas that they're not treating them right, and that their health is at risk, or they're at risk for dying. So I go in and rescue them. And so that's part of my starseed healing. And all of us are starseeds.
Right.
And I'm able to communicate with them and work with them, and also help heal people who are having alien issues. Some people have had implants put in. Some people actually have entities that are either feeding off their chakras. They try to get them negative, and they want to feed off of those chakras. And it's usually the solar plexus would be the most common,
right?
But a lot of times it's the lowest 3 that they're like digging into there, so they can get negative energy in a response. They want them angry, depressed, suicidal. The more they can get them like that, the better energy they get from them. So
okay, we've got a couple more people in. Faye Cole and Kathy G. Thank you for being here. And I'm gonna let you go now, and I'm gonna read you guys later. Okay, go.
Okay. And so the Starseed Healing is the name that they gave me because I'm more than a psychic medium, that I am actually connected directly to them as a source. And I have about 6 guides that are aliens, and I have only one human, and then of course Jesus. For all my guides that help me with everything. And I know it eventually going to be bigger than what I'm doing, but anyway, what I can do is usually shamans and Reiki healers that refer to me that have issues with a person who can't progress because they have an entity, a negative entity around them, or an implant. And if I can remove it for them, then that person can progress. And also the ones that do psychic attacks on the healer, I'll go in and get that out, because for some reason that's easy for me to get rid of them because of all my help, and I can just send them back. And there's a few that have been psychically attacked and have really suffered from it, so I have to go in and get rid of those entities. So basically that's what I do. And my background is I'm a nurse. I worked in the operating room, working on open heart surgery and neurosurgery. And then I went back to school for a chiropractor. And I retired from both of those. And now look what I'm doing.
Yes.
Here's my next career.
So much fun. I tell you, every day we've got enough people in here now. People get angry when I pull out what stone I chose for the day. But I have a book called Healing Oracle Crystal. It's a really interesting book. And today, and I pulled this yesterday when I was thinking about Dr. Gail's going to be on with me. What do I need to pull? I pulled Pneumite, which is the healer.
Okay.
And Pneumite's fascinating stone. These stones are 3 billion years old. They're a metamorphic stone that was from when the earth was first being formed. And they're only found in Greenland, in the Yukon River Valley, and in Converse County, Wyoming, in a river, a gorge or something that's been dug out of the Rockies. It's a very, very ancient stone. The stone has been marked, and Pneumite, the N-U-U, is from where it was found in Greenland. It was found at N-U-U-K, Nuuk, Greenland. And the stone is the warrior and the shaman. It supports the journey of your shadow self, creating a sacred space to obtain deep wisdom, strength, and courage. It increases strength and endurance in difficult times. It assists in the journey of self-mastery, and it assists in all love aspects of yourself. And it's like the ultimate deep cleansing awareness card. It's black gold with brown specks. It's always been held and revered. It was found in the 1800s. When they carried it out, people who held it said, this is the stone of the healer. You can find them. They're not all that expensive. You can get them in little medallions and things to wear around your neck. But because I went looking, because yesterday I had sometimes I'll show a stone, and like if it's an emerald, I'll know it's outrageous, but that one's not. It's a very powerful, powerful stone.
Now, is it solid black? I couldn't quite tell.
It's black with gold and brown in it, with flecks. Okay. It's a mix of two different metals when the world was still molten, and these two metaphors they formed into separate crystals, and they got reheated and they metamorphized into that stone. So it's a really, really powerful stone, and it's one of the oldest crystals we know of on the planet. It's 3 billion. That's with a B, billion years old.
Wow.
So,
I'm going to have to get for those.
Yep, they're cool. They actually have them sort of faceted. It's tied to the root chakra, which is what you were talking about, the power from there. It's empowerment, allowing one to see beyond facades and understand what lies beneath. That's another definition of it. So it's a really, really powerful stone. And it's N-U-U-M-I-T-E.
Okay, I got it. Thanks.
Okay, and I'm looking at... Hi, Sharon Sipe. We've got a dragon slayer, a troll slayer with us. So guys, today was kind of confusing. I thought Dr. Gail was going to be on, so I put up a really pretty graphic. Then she wrote me and said, "Thanks for the graphic. See you Friday." And I went, "Oops." So then I went and put a graphic up saying that I'd do Q&A today. And then at the last minute, she called me and said, "Oh no, I want to go today." And it's not her fault; it's my fault. So I take the heat for this, and I want to just tell everybody I'm so excited to have her here because she crosses into that world I know very little about. I have been told that I'm Earth, 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 although in my Akashic records it said I was a starseed from the Lumerians, so I tip my hat to that part of my ancient ancestry. But I don't do or know much about aliens. I do know a lot about healing, and I know a lot about people being set with the right intents and energy. And I have, I say I don't deal with aliens. I talk to angels. So, who knows?
That's right. They took a Palladian.
Yep, that could be one of them. And do you guys have any questions about this? Because otherwise I'm going to kind of run her through. How do you get a patient? How do you get a person that you need to heal?
Usually I am referred from like a shaman, a Reiki healer, tarot card reader, somebody who is having difficulty with a person who is not progressing.
Mm-hmm.
And they show up as depressed. suicidal and just can't, and they're looking for help in this area. So they're wanting, they're desiring, they want help, but they can't move past something. And that something is what I take care of. Usually I can immediately see if the person has an implant, and those implants come from like a negative entity or an alien, negative alien, and they put the implant in so they can have an efficient source of energy. They feed off our energy, and they really like the solar plexus, but they go for the lower three chakras. I have had a few that have gone for, the throat. They've gone for that one, and but anyway, they just want the energy, and then some are negative energies that actually go into the body and start taking the energy away from the person, and it keeps them at a lower vibrational level. So what I do is I go in and get rid of it, and tell the person how they can raise their vibration. We have a whole session on all that after I get rid of it, and then they go back to their original healer, so they can make sure that their progress keeps them going. Because usually after I get rid of it, they can soar. They all of a sudden can move up and start ascending, have higher vibration, and are doing much better. And it's a partnership. They have to work just as hard as I'm working on getting rid of it. And also, some of our healers get psychically attacked by these entities, and for some reason I have some talent to go in, and it's easy for me to get rid of them. But I have a tremendous amount of guides that help me on this. And when I get a really bad one, Jesus shows up. And one really bad one, he turned them into a red rose, and poof, they were gone. So I have an arsenal of help that helps me on these things. And for me, it is easy to get rid of these negative energies and these implants, and I can send them back to their original healer. So it usually takes 1 or 2 visits, and that's it with me.
Right. You do it at a distance, so people don't have to come track you down where you live. They don't have to physically be touched by you.
No, I prefer listening to the vibration of the voice. That's how I work.
Mm-hmm.
I really go by that vibration of the voice. So I do not have to see you or touch you or anything. I really can do it by phone, because that's my method. Is I write and listen to the voice, and I could connect that way.
Yeah, I was talking with someone once, and they were talking to me about some different things, and I just was sitting there. It was about a year ago, maybe a little more than a year ago, and I said, "Are you an alien?" And I mean, trust me, guys, this is not something I drop on people on a frequent level, but I knew this person in the psychic world worked with aliens, and she goes, "Yes, I am. How did you know?" And I was only listening to her voice. If I were to see her physical presence, I would not see this. But what I saw when I talked to people on the phone, and I used to run a large volunteer organization, and I learned how to listen to people's voices. And you can hear if they're really grounded and they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, they're big round bubbles of energy that are coming around you. If they're lying to you, the energy is kind of going choo, choo, choo. I mean, it's like their eyes are darting around energetically. Well, in the case of her energy was completely vertical. Completely vertical. And I had never felt that in anyone before. And she said, "Yeah, I am. I'm alien." And so we talked about what it was like to live in her world and to be a part of it. And she was talking to me about how I am so earthy. Maybe this has something to do with my former weight problem, but like I was like,
Right.
kind of thing. And so I've experienced a lot of what Gail's talking about in my own life. So if you guys are kind of doing the eye roll, looking for the third eye, going, "Oh my God, what is this?" Really listen to her, because what she's saying she can do is no weirder than me bringing in a garden and rolling rocks and telling you what to do. Honest to God. The only thing is that she's coming up with a permanent method of dealing with some long-range problems. And I've had clients that had really, really deep-seated problems. And all I can do is point them to the problem and say, "Do you see this?" Because I don't move that kind of energy around. So, and I respect it, because I work with 2 distance healers. One who helps me with my breathing, which we've gotten my oxygen sats up into the upper 90s all the time, which is a miracle. And the other one just works with keeping me kind of focused and together. And I don't know which is worse, getting my oxygen sats up or keeping me focused. But they both work. And so if you get the opportunity to ever work with a distance healer, don't go, how the hell does that work? Just accept that it works and try it. Okay? Anybody else have, oh, I'm not moving my question thing down. Everybody's still saying hello. Anybody got any questions? Okay, wait a minute. I went to the crystal store yesterday and I held a tiger's eye and I got this achy pain feeling in my wrist and arm, and then as I was having a bad feeling, it felt bad, and then I had a headache. Well, you're not supposed to take that stone home, hun. I mean, the achy in my hand would have done it for me.
Yeah, you can connect to the stones. You need to, I ought to put that one down immediately.
Yeah, and I mean, tiger's eye is it's a real solar plexus stone. And it could also tell you that your solar plexus isn't connecting as well as it should. I was told by another reader that I was an alien reincarnated in this life, and I am still looking into that. I wonder what kind of alien species.
What's her name?
Tammy.
Tammy. She's wondering what kind of alien species she is. I have as I said, I usually go by voice connection, the vibration of the voice. Let me see if I can connect to my guides if they can help me with that. The first thing I'm getting is Octurian.
Okay.
And that's actually what I am too. It's Octurian. So Tammy, I think your Starseed Pass is more than one place. I think your last life was a Arcturian, but you have been a Palladian. And I think you've even been on Sirius B at one time. Okay.
Tammy, does that take notes on that? Arcturian, is that AR or?
I'm terrible speller, but yes, AR like ARC.
Yeah, like arc and then Turian like Arthur. Okay. Somebody just bought a Pneumite pendant. How cool.
Yay, yeah.
Let's see. Do we underestimate the power of sound and resonant vibrations?
Yes. And we underestimate the color vibration, sound vibration, color vibration, all that. In fact, I'm learning a lot about that now. And I even go on by the vibration of the crystals I choose for people I see, what they're needing. I connect to them and recommend a crystal for them to carry around for 2 weeks to 4 weeks for healing.
Yes.
So everything has a vibration, and I'm really, that's how I do connect, is the vibration of the sound of a voice is how I'm able to really connect with somebody.
I just watched a show on Ancient Aliens, which has not been one of my favorite shows, but they're getting better now that they haven't, now that that guy learned how to comb his hair. But anyway, they did a thing on harmonics, and it was fascinating to me because harmonics go back to sacred geometry, and there's harmonics in the stone. But it was really interesting then they showed how the harmonics work, and they also talked about the vibration of color. It was just on. You can find it on the History Channel. Okay. Greeting.
Well, I worked in the operating room, and I did, heart surgery and neurosurgery, and all the equipment we use to take out a tumor from the head is a lot of the equipment that I see on the spaceship, except for 1,000 times better. So it's like my lifetime here on Earth has prepared me for what I do on the spaceship. Because I'm very familiar with that equipment, except for I'm the surgeon, and my assistant, which is a gray hybrid, Clarice, she's the one that does what I used to do in the operating room. But all this equipment up there is just fabulous, and it balances energy, it balances your hormones and your chemistry, and then it opens chakras. I mean, that equipment is amazing up there.
One more question. It's from Jane the Seeker. My guides are light. I believe they are aliens. Light is an Light. So ask them. Ask them.
Yeah.
I mean, people are like, oh, and people say, I don't know what my guide's name is, and then I can do that. Not in mass groups. Don't ask me to do it now. I can do it one-on-one because I'd be giving you somebody else's name. But
Yeah.
When I do that, they go, you know, that name's followed me around all my life. Yeah, they've been saying, hey, I'm here, you know.
Well,
And
I think the one thing is when they ask the name, and they tell them what their name is, and they give them an earth name. Like a lot of mine are earth names.
Oh, I know.
And I think what they do is they question the name they hear, and it's immediately the first thing you hear. That's their name.
That's it.
And they start overthinking it, going, "No, that's not what I heard." No,
you can get it. You can get it through automatic writing. That's how I found Frank, my other guide, the one that's the big, formidable one that doesn't let anyone pass. Okay.
Yep. Well, I don't even know what kind of. I have two main guides, and I don't even know what kind of aliens they are. One is blue, and she's really tall. Her name is Sally, and she has horns, and I mean, she's Aqua, and she has a scrunched up face, and I always kid about that she's not very pretty. And then I have another one that's a little petite blue one, and it has a head that's jello. I have no idea what kind of species they are, and they said I wouldn't be able to pronounce their name anyway, but there's so many out there.
Well, sometimes they give you a name you can say. Actually, one of my guides told me that I had met a living relative, because her last lifetime, she came in as a slave to this country. The soul chose to come in and came with the people to try and help them adjust to the passage. And she helped them, and she said, you've met one of my relatives. And when I saw her, I thought, this woman looks like someone I know. And it's someone I used to read. And I asked her, I said, it's kind of an odd name. And she looked across the table at me and she said, is it Addie? And I said, yeah, it's Addie. Why? And she said, every generation of her family's had a woman named Addie, and they never knew why.
Well, I'm talking about, I don't understand what species they are. I can't understand. But they give me, like, other ones, Matt, Kai, and Sally are my main ones. But the type of alien they are, like a Palladian or Arcturian, I don't even know what they are, and I can't pronounce what they are.
Yeah, and I know there's a whole plethora of that. I have enough trouble remembering all the crystals I need to remember. Okay, greetings. I also connect with the Seven Sisters. What does that mean? Isn't that the Palladians?
It's the Palladians, yes.
That one I do know from my astronomy.
It's your homesick.
Right. Are you connecting with the meridians of the body to find the issues in the body? Also, what am I? Which Helene, if it's Helene or it's Helen with an E, you need to kind of contact her about that. What am I? I really don't know. I just know that I feel I spend a lot of time astral traveling.
Oh, good for you. Yay, I astral travel all the time. And that's where I go up and meet my dog, Moon, who passed.
That's right. Talk about Skywalking with Moon, what that's about. It's a cool story.
Yeah. Well, my dog, she passed away. Her name is Moon, and she's a white German Shepherd, 95-pound, huge girl. And she did everything with me. She worked with me, and she was just with me all the time, traveled with me. I mean, she was one that I could take in hotels, and she was just wonderful. And she got cancer and died. And before she died, about 2 months before, after her diagnosis, she started astral traveling with me. And when I meditate, I usually are laying down on the couch with my legs up, and she put her head beside my head, and she started astral traveling with me. Now, my first orientation to the spaceship, she was still alive at this time, and I had to put myself in a bubble so I wouldn't get sick. And she popped up in that bubble, and it scared me to death because I thought, oh, this is breach of security. My dog has popped up in my bubble, and I was and they acted like nothing was wrong. Well, later on, long story short, she's actually my pilot now, and she is a shapeshifter, and turns into a Wookiee. So she's doing more on the other side than she is when she was on my side. And she's my protector, my pilot, my right hand person. She's with me all the time over there. And yeah, when she popped up in that bubble, I didn't know what to say or how. I mean, she was only there for a few seconds and she left. And then, yeah, they obviously they knew her.
Yeah.
I didn't realize she'd been going up there. So, she's there with me all the time now on the other side. I wish she was still here with 3D and wish we could do both of it together. But yeah, she has important things up there.
Can people self-refer themselves to you? In other words, I've got all your information about your email and how they can go see your channel. By the way, if you're interested in this stuff and you want to help support her, go subscribe, like, and share her shows on her channel. She's not long-winded like me. She's really short. She gets to the chase and does what she needs to do and leaves the rest behind. So you're not going to spend hours trying to catch up to what's going on.
Right. Hey, you can direct yourself to me. We might have to find some help with you to make sure you're on the right path afterwards. But yes, I can help you. You can make an appointment with me and I can help you.
Okay, good. Okay, and what else? Do you guys have any more questions? Because, I mean, it's also astounding, and it's kind of like getting used to it. And if you hear a dog in the background, that is not her dog coming to visit. That's my daughter's dog, because my daughter's home from work early. And
it's not my other dog. I do have another dog. The one that jumps the fence, the 6-foot privacy fence.
Yep, that's the one that jumps the fence. How does a corgi jump that fence?
She's so short, and I went out and watched her do it because I couldn't believe she never did it in front of me before, but she jumps straight up like this, and she takes 2 jumps. She hooks her front paws up on the top of the picket fence, and then scrubs her little behind up, and over she goes, and it's within seconds she can do it.
They're amazing.
I mean, it's unbelievable. I'm going, why did I spend $5,000 on a privacy fence back here for you?
Have you looked at what Dr. Maggie suggested about putting a hole so she can see?
Yes, I saw that, yes.
Okay.
I'm not really sure that wouldn't make her want to jump out more. She sees something she wants to go to.
Well, yeah, or just maybe it shows her it's not worth chasing. I mean, the more clarity you get on that. Anyway, someone says, wow, I'm hanging on to every word. What a fascinating story. You've been doing this for a little over a year now, did you say?
Yes.
Okay, so about how many clients would that work out to be, or just rough guess?
Oh, I don't, that'd be under the too numerous to count.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I mean, I can't even count how many missions I've been on. And also the missions that are on my YouTube channel are the ones that were a year ago. I've done so many more since then. I haven't even caught up to where I am now, which is, I have told everybody what I am at now is I'm surgeon on a spaceship, and I do take people in and get rid of implants and negative entities. I'm also a psychic medium, so I can connect you to your guides and your loved ones.
Oh, cool.
I can do that also. And usually when I'm doing a reading for somebody, it's very common for either if they have an alien connection, the alien coming through, and also if they have a loved one, they'll come through. And also I am in charge of that big spaceship, which is a hospital, which I found out. And I'm also the medical director of that, and also I sit on the committee of the Galactic Confederation of all, and I am the medical officer for all the spaceships that are hospitals. Now our hospital is for hybrids. Everybody who works on that ship is a hybrid, and the other hospital ships are species specific, like Arcturian Hospital, Palladian Hospital, but ours is the toughest. Ours is the hybrids. And also I sit on the committee for First Contact, where
Cool.
they've got a guy that has 16 on it. I'm the only human on there, and there's 16, and they've picked out a guy named Dante, and I don't think he looks human enough. So
Mm-hmm.
we're fighting over that. I'm going, he's not human enough, and they're going, but look at his paperwork and all the things he's done, and I keep going, but he's not human enough, and I think I should have more weight than they do because I'm human. But
Right.
we're going back and forth on that one. But that is first contact, and they're wanting it to be, I think 2024 is where they've earmarked first
Right.
contact. But I tell everybody 2025 because I don't know if they'll like the government. I don't know. It just depends on how we progress.
Well, there's a lot of astrologers who are talking about some giant event beyond the Earth that's coming in 2024, and I don't know when they do years out.
Right.
To help. Yeah, if y'all have any alien questions, go to Dr. Gail, because I can understand you are one and say how lovely. I was actually told that I keep getting sent back in human form because I'm addicted to humanity. I'm addicted to trying to help them. So somebody's got to.
I mean, a lot of people I'm surrounded are super grounded, and I think they help me stay grounded because I really struggle with staying grounded. I don't really like being up in space. I love being in the water, but I did not like I did like my experience being in Earth, but that was probably my least favorite and a little uncomfortable.
Yeah. Explain to them how when you get called to visiting Earth, what that's mean.
What you mean?
What
did
you said
say?
you went to Earth? You went to
ground?
I don't know
when I
that
went
whole
down-
story.
Yeah, visiting Mother Earth.
Mm-hmm.
When I went down, I went down to visit Mother Earth. That was the most amazing energy I have ever felt was her, and she was beautiful. She was looked like red clay, and she was holding my hand, and I'm not comfortable there, so I kept popping up. I had up my head, just seeing Earth, looking around, and then I go back down and talk to her some more and come back up. Anyway, she was just basically saying we're all going to be okay, and we have a lot of work to do, and that we are going to go through all these natural disasters, and it was to make us wake up and start working together because we're best at a disaster. We go help our neighbors.
No, that's when we do.
Family.
Yeah, that's when everybody puts their shoulder to the wheel and tries to.
Right. And she's wanting us to do that without a disaster, to be like that. And that's been kind of my message. I mean, when I went in the water the other day with Princess Fiona, she was so cute. And, and her message, I was expecting some profound message, and all she said was, don't throw trash in the water. Or don't throw, don't. And I don't know, what? And she kept saying it. Well, I realized I got more of a message since then from her, is that she wants us to look at the products that we buy and look at how the companies
package it.
How they do get rid of their waste. If it's somebody who's throwing their waste in the ocean or any kind of water or doing something, she's wanting us to kind of boycott that. She's wanting us, and I don't even know how you researched how they dispose of their waste. But anyway, that's really what she was talking about, was that she gave me more information than she wants us to start looking at companies that do that and wants them to stop all that.
There's an island of unbiodegradable plastic that's the size of Texas in the Atlantic Ocean somewhere. And there's another one that's in the Pacific. And it just swirls around and keeps gathering crap. Now, who's going to go, what kind of ship are they ever going to send to go get something that's the size of Texas out of the water? Right. Even if they start picking it up now. But you can start now by not buying things that are over packaged or, recycle things.
Her thing was she wants us to learn how the companies dispose of their waste. And making sure they're doing the right things is what she was talking about also. And I don't even know if there's somebody out there that
there's a lot of different environmental groups that are part of that. Because when I used to run in political circles, they'd show up in there, they'd go, what are you going to do about these guys that are dumping this?
Right. That's what she's really wanting us to focus on, is that. And then the trees, that was yesterday or day before yesterday, telling us to start communicating, and that again was for us to start communicating positively like they do. They're always of love and caring to each other,
Mm-hmm.
and some of us do that, and then some of us do negative, and they will not join with us
Mm-hmm.
until we come up, our vibrational comes up, our communication vibrational comes up, and we're only loving and positive and helping each other with disasters. And that was a huge communication also. So all these communications that I'm getting, it's all new to me. I'm not real sure why, but I guess it's because I'm willing. But anyway, it's pretty amazing what they're telling me.
Alicia, empath, love, peace, all. I'm not sure how she could tell me. She's been speaking to her light creatures up in the clouds for a long time, so she probably, you're
Good.
doing fine. And Virginia said, Virginia's thanking us for doing this. Thank you, Dr. Gail. She's loving this. Take care and stay safe, which we will.
Thank you.
And we're intending it. I had a friend, and when Gail and I were just talking to try and get ready for the show, what she said about people she worked with reminded me of someone, and Gail has since worked with her, and I don't know how the rest of it all works because she hasn't worked with me, so I can't give a testimonial to that. But I talked with my friend this morning, and she has a problem with voices at night, waking her up and making her worry about things. She's in bed. She can't do anything about it then anyway. She said, so the voice started up, the critical voice, and all of a sudden she said, I heard another voice I've never heard before, and it says, hush, you're not supposed to be here. You need to leave. And she said, and I rolled over, and that nice voice said, you just go back to sleep. And she said, I really feel like I'm well on my way to healing after that experience.
Yes, I got rid of it. And I also told her I would be protecting her for 72 hours until she got herself together,
Mm-hmm.
and able to start raising her vibration, and where they're not interested in her anymore.
Yeah. And someone wanted to know if you've spoken to crystals, and that's directed to you, Gail.
Do I speak to crystals?
Mm-hmm.
Like
That, like the one she's holding right there. Yeah.
Yeah, I always have a crystal, and I always, whenever I am doing a healing with somebody, I usually pick out a crystal for them that we need to work with, and it's usually associated with the chakra that needs work.
Yes.
But I love working with crystals. And Nancy Jean, she knows so much about it. I really don't. I go by my instincts, and but I love crystals.
Well, that's how I deal with crystals, and I deal with crystals intuitively, but I've spent some time looking up, making sure that my first impression is one that matches it. But this is where my guides take over. When I set up a crystal grid, they say, no, that one goes there. I mean, it's not like I sit there and draw out the angles and figure it out. I just know. And when I first found sacred geometry, I hated geometry. But I love sacred geometry, and when I read through it, I went, oh, this all makes sense.
I hear that a lot about people who, I didn't like geometry much either, but that they like the sacred geometry and everything else since then. But I haven't quite gotten into that yet. It might come, but right now it's,
Well, I think sacred geometry is based on starting with the dot, and then a dot becomes a line, then a line becomes a circle, then you have two circles, and then you get the seed of life, and you get every geometric form you can find is in there, and it just kind of blows up that way. But it ties to numerology, which is another thing that I happen to like. I think it's a good tool to have in your back pocket. But if you don't do it, you don't do it because you don't need to.
right.
Okay. Someone wants to know if they asked about you talking because you said you talked with trees.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm on the trails all the time. I walk the trails with my dog,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm there every morning, and I'm always out there thanking the trees and You know, and I just finally the other day just asked, I said, why don't I ask them what I can do for them? Now, I've asked them what they thought of me, and the only word they came out was powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And so the other day I said, what can I do for you? I mean, do you want me to plant a tree? What you want me to do? And no, it's start communicating. Start communicating. They want us to raise our vibrations. They want to, you know, they have a net under the ground that all plants, grass, everything, they communicate love, happiness, and they give the warning, like if somebody's got an injury or a tornado or something is coming through, they warn them so they can protect themselves. And we're nowhere near doing that. That's what they want us to do. They want us to be like that. And when we do, we will be joining forces and we'll all be communicating together. We eventually will be communicating with the trees, the bushes, the grass, the flowers. Whenever we can get our vibration up in our communication only of love and light, then we will be able to communicate with them. And I'm not so sure that they're not more evolved than us. They are certainly on communication. So
Well, they've been here a lot longer.
Right. So it makes me wonder about that because we're having to learn from them.
That's right. And I think it's supposed to be, I live by the Great Salt Lake, and there is a giant crystal, and in her center, I know a couple of people who have gone to converse with that crystal. So give them my name. I'll put them on my show. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Great Salt Lake has some interesting things.
Yeah, I'd like to see that person too. Where is it that has all the crystals? Was it Arkansas?
Arkansas has a lot.
Yeah.
Well, they're actually everywhere. I mean, but where they have the mines that you can just kind of go in and pick around and find your own stuff. Arkansas is the closest one to me. There are riverbanks along in Texas where you can go find a lot of the prehistoric, pre-dinosaur creatures that are in the mud and stuff. I mean, there's a lot of. I have a friend, Amy, who runs a rock hunting group. Unfortunately, with my crap ass knees, I can't go with them because it requires walking in somewhere, and I don't want them to have to find a makeshift gurney to get me out.
Yeah, I'm close to North Carolina, so there's a lot of.
Oh, there's a lot in Carolinas. There's a lot. I've built grids for people who rock hunt in those states, and and of course there's a lot in the Rocky Mountains. That's why they call them Rocky Mountains.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm getting messages. I'm trying to put them together. People start and then they end, and then they start and we comment. And I want to know everything y'all want to say. Oh, somebody's talking about how some of her best friends are trees. I visit them when I go back to my hometown. Right. When I was a child, Dutch elm disease came through the U.S., which most of you don't understand. If you've never seen a Dutch elm tree, they were magnificent, and that disease did not stop. I grew up in a street that was a wide boulevard, but it was totally canvassed in in the summer. When there were leaves in the trees, it was totally canvassed in. Within 2 years, it was just a blank road. And I grew up in Illinois, but it swept through the whole country. And there was a Dutch elm in some condos I lived in Dallas. And I was talking with this one groundskeeper, and he said, the only reason that tree survived was there were not very many Dutch elms down here, so the parasite never got there. So, and he said, because I said, I love that tree. And he said, it's a Dutch elm. And one time when I was little in school, they had us draw trees, and the only trees I drew were dead. And the teacher got all upset because I was drawing dead trees. I guess I have no idea what she thought was going on in my head. God bless her if she could figure it out. Anyway, she called my parents in, and my parents sat me down. They go, you're drawing dead trees. And I said, that's all I see. What do you want? We want our kids to see green leafy trees.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was pretty profound that they're wanting us to start communicating like they do. And I'm not sure how we are going to evolve to do that because we have such negativity. I'm not sure how that's going to happen. I know it's going to someday, but I don't know
Well,
when.
part of it is there's a couple different people that do like a what's coming up in the next month sort of things that aren't
Mhm.
just astrologers, they're just energy people. There's a guy
Right.
named Lee Harris, and he was talking about how if 30% of us could get our vibrations up for a given period of time, that would shift the whole Earth's vibration and it would start to pull other people up and into it. So, and one of the things he talks about is going out in nature and going next to a tree and hugging it and
Mhm.
learning the energy and the vibration from the tree. So, that might be one way to do it. And to
Right.
work, I can't work on like everybody's vibration. Just like when I ran in politics, I couldn't make everybody vote, which,
Right.
and I'm in a state where we're paying for everybody not voting right now. But,
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's how I'm doing is raising each person's vibration by um,
yeah.
treating them. And
And you're doing it by diagnosing a blockage that otherwise they might not be able to conquer on their own or maybe could never, especially if it's an implant or something from an
right.
extraordinary source. And it's really, I know some people say, "Oh, there's no such thing as really evil." Oh, trust me, there
I've
really is.
seen, I think one of our hardest ones to get rid of. Um, I I usually start in the morning when I'm getting ready to remove an implant,
Mhm.
trying to get into the person's energy. And one of the, it was a terrible entity, and it literally came and pushed me against my
Mhm.
shoulders because it knew I was coming. And the girl I was talking to on the phone, couldn't even get past our introduction, and it kept turning us off, cutting us off, cutting the phone off, cutting off.
Mhm.
It gave her a flat tire. We were supposed to meet in person first, but it was terrible. And finally, I mean, I didn't even get hardly out to her what I did. And I said, I just got to go in and get this thing, and I'll call
Mhm.
you back. And so after I got rid of it, it was fine. And it stayed up in the air, waiting for me to just disappear for it to come back to
Mhm.
her. And so that's why I usually stay around about 72 hours until that person gets their vibration
Right.
up. And then they're not interested in them anymore. But that was one of my toughest ones, and it shocked me when it came and pushed me like that.
Oh, somebody's talking about her husband, her ex woke up one night and there was a little gray man at one end of the bed and another little guy at the other end of the bed. And I just told him not to worry about it. They were just checking in on me.
Right. They were. That's exactly what they were doing, and they they don't know boundaries. I keep talking to them about boundaries. They don't get that we have privacy. They don't get that they can't pop in your bedroom. They just don't get it. They
Mm-hmm.
don't understand why that scares us, or no, that's just not a thing we do down on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
They don't understand any of that. And the main people I work with are gray hybrids, and so that's what it was. But
Okay.
that's
All
exactly
right.
what they do.
A lot of trees are being killed by the fires. That's part of the tragedy of the earth to wake us up. And there are some places. My brother lives near Yosemite, and when they had that horrible fire and everybody thought, it was like burned to the ground, he said within 18 months, it was just the meadows and everything was back and the trees were growing back because there are some trees that the only way that they can replicate, it's a lodgepole pine, is the pine cones stay on the ground for a long time, but it takes a certain amount of heat for them to open up so they can spread out their seeds, and that's what comes back first in those forests. Some of it
Right,
is that part of the life cycle of a tree is to not keep a tree alive forever.
right. Well, also what happens when a fire like that happens,
Mm-hmm.
they send out a message. The whole sends out a message to all the trees, all the plants, all that are fires coming, and
Mm-hmm.
they lay down and set out a chemical that saves the roots, so they
Mm-hmm.
can come back.
Yes,
So that's their network, and that's the network we're supposed to have.
but we don't. We cut it off.
Well, we have that part of network, and that's the good part of us because
Mm-hmm.
we do tell when disasters are coming. But when the disaster's over, we're not that person anymore. So they're wanting us to be like that all the time.
Okay. I know that one time I read an article about the largest living organism on Earth right now is this mushroom that's connected through its roots, and it's up in the northwest somewhere, and this mother goes for like forever. It pops up all over the place, and it's all the same plant. When they check the genetics of it, it's all the same plant.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
so plants do wonderful things. Let's see. I live in the woods. Somebody who says she lives in the woods and loves the trees, as long as there's no poison ivy.
Oh, I agree. A poison oak is my thing. Man, oh man.
Did
Yes,
you
I
know
agree.
that the cure for poison ivy grows right beside it? The little plant you can rub on it to get rid of it.
What about poison oak though?
I don't know anything. All I know is I learned what they looked like and kept away from it. I had a friend, Meg, who ended up getting it, and it just spread like a fire over her entire body. And she spent a good part of one summer of our teenage years wrapped in a sheet because that's all she could wear, and she had weeping wounds till they finally
Right.
found a med that would work against it. It's if you've never had it, don't go get it, but don't not go out in the woods. Just wear high socks and don't touch your face. Just
one
if you
time
touch
I
anything in
was-
the woods, treat it like you've just opened up a chili pepper and you're going towards your eyes.
Yeah, one time I was hiking in the woods with my dogs, and I came up, of course, across some poison oak, and it was over a log, and so I was going to have to step over it, try to dodge it. Anyway, long story short, I fell, broke my ankle, and everybody was going, "Well, you'd have been better getting that poison oak on you." And I went, "Oh no, I'd rather break the ankle." You've never had poison oak if you're saying that.
Yeah, you don't know if you're really allergic to it. We had a woman who asked if you teach or mentor, if they want to know about what services you do have, they can just get a hold of you through the things I have in the description, the website, right?
Right, but mostly my mentors are aliens.
Okay. So yeah, this woman says the Greys have kept her safe from a lot of things in her life.
Yes, yes, yes. We have a lot of great protectors around us. They really, they really care for us.
And oh yes, guys, please hit like and share this video if it's new information to you. Share it with your friends and share it with other people you think, because there's so much more energetically going on in the world than a card puller or a person who works with stones or anything. I mean, I'm very, very earthbound, and I'm fascinated with where she goes and what she does. Not that I'm volunteering to go there tomorrow, but it's not what I do. But I really, when I heard Gail's story and I started talking to her about what she does, it absolutely fascinates me. And like I said, I know we run into things in our lives that we just can't get past. And I think some people, it's not, you can't pull yourself up by your bootstraps if you don't know where the boots are. The boots are implanted in the back of your brain somewhere,
Yeah, and I'm not sure why I have that talent, but it is. I do have a talent. An implant starts flashing at me when somebody has one, and I hear them talking, and then the negative entities, will show up there, and they're usually hiding, and they hide from, they have an ability to hide from a shaman, that's trying to cut a cord, or a Reiki healer, or the tarot card readers. They have an ability to hide from them, and I found like one today. What looked like a little old man, and he was sitting there crouched up, hiding from me, trying to hide. And I found him and made him exit, but they can't. They get missed. They know how to hide.
And quite honestly, to go to a tarot reader and say, get rid of my negative entities. I mean, first of all, thank you, London. Speaking of, London's looking at a negative entity on the porch.
I put mine in doggy daycare today, so she wouldn't do that.
Well, I don't know who's.
But I'm surprised my cat's not visiting us.
Okay. One of the things that I think it's appropriate to know what sort of person can help you with what. Now, they can start to point you in the way, and I'll tell people you need to meditate on this, you're kind of blocked here, or what. Or I can tell you my story about my weight loss where I really, really worked on my heart chakra and broke down all the things, and then my body could shift its energy and shift its weight. But not, that works for me. And that may, and that story may help and guide other people. But what you're doing is sort of a step above that, and it's kind of therapy I wasn't aware of, and I wanted to make my audience aware of it.
Right, I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm always working on my root chakra because I do like to be up in space.
Yeah.
I always have to ground myself, and now I know Mother Earth personally, so I get to go ground myself with her. So it's a little bit easier for me now.
I sure hope Mother Earth has a sense of humor, because we're certainly pushing every negative thing we could think of. Well, we're almost to the end.
Anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, I've been looking for questions, because the problem is that I have a teeny tiny little screen off here. I've got a great big screen here, and I'm reading questions.
Well, your electronic ability is a lot better than mine. I'm just on my iPhone, and I don't even see questions.
It's amazing that you look that good on your iPhone, because.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do one quick rock throw from the garden.
Okay.
For folks, and then I'll talk about, get my other crap out of the way. Okay. This is kind of the universal message for everyone to take away from now that you've had the opportunity to meet Gail, if you hadn't met her before, or meet this kind of influence in your life. What does the garden have to say about how we can deal with this? Oh, everything's moving forward. It says that our values that you've been speaking with are totally true. Your spirit. You uplift people's spirits and move them forward, but you've got the body, the mind, and clarity all in water. And when they appear in water, water is emotions, and it's what moves us forward. So this is saying that our spirits can soar when we consume this information. Everything she was saying, when it hits true, values and true, that's the pyrite, that's the everything we're seeing very clearly. It's a grand opportunity for our minds to be opened up, to move forward, for our bodies to move. Dog. For our bodies to move. Grounding your thoughts is important to this episode, and so is, and then spirit is. And it said all your thoughts are clear. So when you're thinking about this, think about it clearly. Don't feel like someone's putting a fog machine in front of you. Everything's working out fine, and that just means that what's happening here is intense, because the more the stones fall together, the more intense it is. So
that's good readings.
That's a good. I'll take that one.
Yeah.
Tomorrow I am going to be doing Q&A for those of you who haven't seen my 47 posts. Hit the subscribe.
For the next one.
Yeah, her website, your YouTube channel is Starseed
Skywalking with Moon.
Skywalking with Moon, and Skywalking's one word. Go over there, go subscribe. She's really quick. She doesn't drag you through an hour of this like I do. And hi, Barbara Odom, your garden went out day before yesterday because my fitter and kidder in Austin was under a COVID scare and couldn't go where the stock was. So he's fine. Don't worry about him. I mean, I'm not to put it down, but I mean, he had to go hide out for 6 days while the testing got run because he had really bad symptoms. So I'm sorry it didn't go out as quickly as I'd hoped. Other than that, I'm going to close this shop down. Thank you. Oh, Kathy G., one of the first people in, stayed for the whole hour and thanks us for our wonderful work. And I want to thank
you're welcome.
I want to thank everybody who showed up. I want to thank all of you that are subscribed. If you haven't subscribed, what are you doing here? You need to subscribe. Then you'll get all the notices. Do go check that the notification bell is hit. I've had people saying they're not getting my notifications, and then right after that I get something from someone who says, "Oh, I love the graphic." You got to go. If you haven't read my notifications, go look at the one I found for Danny Shea, where it's an old painting from Mongolia from the 1700s of a shaman, and he's in a bathrobe. He's in a bathrobe.
I love that picture.
So anyway, yay! Thank you all for showing up. Thank you, Gail, and get in touch with
Thank
Gail.
you for everybody showing